You think you know silence, but you don't. You think silence means absence, emptiness, the quiet of a room when you're alone. That's not silence. That's just the world inhaling. Silence is what happens when someone looks you dead in the soul and chooses not to speak. When a man feels everything but reveals nothing. When a woman waits for a reaction and gets stone instead of sparks. That is Stoic silence, the kind that makes hearts pound louder than words ever could, the kind that leaves questions hanging in the air like unfinished sentences, the kind that makes you lean in, breath held, because you feel something is coming, but you can't tell when or how, or if it ever will. Relationships today are loud, they are rushed, they are filled with messages, reactions, emotions spilled like open books. But what if I told you the most powerful form of love is unreadable? What if the strongest desire is the one left unconfirmed? The deepest connection isn't built in confession, it's built in mystery. The tension you can't explain, the look you can't finish interpreting, the craving that isn't spoken. That's why the Stoics believed control is freedom. The more you own your reactions, the less anyone owns you. The calmer the surface, the deeper the current underneath. People are drowning in drama, but starving for depth. They are addicted to chaos, but craving truth. They chase attention, but respect discipline. They want fire, but trust ice. And a man who can stand firm in silence becomes both irresistible and terrifying, because no one can see where he ends or where he begins. A Stoic man does not fear heartbreak. He expects it like winter expects snow, not because he wants pain, but because he understands it. Pain is not disruption, it's direction. It doesn't destroy you, it reveals you. And when heartbreak comes, he doesn't collapse, he studies. He asks no questions out loud. He interrogates the moment internally, because emotions aren't enemies, they are visitors. You don't kill them, you host them quietly, then let them leave when their purpose is done. What breaks others shapes him. What shakes others seasons him. What blinds others sharpens his vision. And let's talk about desire. Not the cheap kind, not the loud kind, the kind that lives in the small moments, the second where you almost whisper but stop yourself, the closeness of presence without possession, the warmth of a body near enough to notice but far enough to wonder. Stoic desire is not spoken with words, it's spoken with gravity. It pulls without demanding. It burns without needing permission. It lingers without explanation. The Stoics didn't avoid desire, they mastered it. Because domination over self is the only domination worth pursuing. A woman expects a man to react when she teases with distance or closeness, when she plays with rhythm, silence, attention, the dance of presence. But a Stoic man doesn't dance to someone else's beat. He sets the tempo quietly, confidently, like a slow drum played in a distant room that somehow controls the pulse of your heart. The world insists intimacy should be fast. Stoicism insists intimacy should be steady, meaningful, controlled. Tension is not a mistake. It's by design. Suspense is not a gap. It's a masterpiece. Mystery is not manipulation. It's dignity. When a man is intimate with a woman, he doesn't lose himself. He brings himself into the moment fully consciously as the observer and the participant at the same time. He doesn't melt under emotion, he sharpens under it. He doesn't rashly push for intensity. He deliberately cultivates presence. Not coldness, presence. Because presence with discipline is seductive, but intensity without discipline is chaos. Women don't crave weak softness, They don't crave reckless hardness. They crave controlled strength. Calm storms, men who feel deeply but don't unravel, men who desire without desperation, men who hold silence like a sharpened sword, pointed downward, not used, but visible, not chaotic, but dangerous, not begging love, but worthy of love. And let me tell you something most men never understand. Women can sense insecurity faster than they can decode words. A man who overshares emotions invites pity, not respect. A man who overdisplays desire invites ego, not love. But a man who displays mastery over emotions invites curiosity. Respect desire without needing to provoke it, because self-control is not suppression, it is sovereignty. Silence makes people nervous. Nervousness turns to curiosity. Curiosity turns to desire. Desire turns to obsession. Obsession without possession turns to myth, and myth becomes legacy. That is the psychology of Stoic relationships. Think of the most unforgettable people in your life. They weren't loud, they were impactful, they didn't explain themselves. They revealed themselves slowly through action. Their silence forced you to fill the narrative with your imagination. And imagination is always more vivid than reality ever could be. Stoicism teaches us we don't beg life to reveal its next chapter. We live in preparation worthy of any chapter that comes. You don't ask a flower to bloom, you ensure the soil is ready. You don't ask love to remain, you ensure you are someone love would regret losing. You don't ask desire to ignite, you ensure you are someone desire would question if it can ever come again. The problem today is everyone wants to be understood immediately. Stoicism says, don't aim to be understood, aim to be undeniable, because the misunderstood cannot be ignored if they are impactful. People ignore words, they cannot ignore presence. The loudest heartbreak is quickly forgotten because it explains itself instantly. But the silent heartbreak, the unspoken one, the one without public collapse, that becomes a mystery that lasts. Because people remember the unanswered, not the explained. The silence after a connection fractures becomes more powerful than the sound of it shattering. Because silence is the aftermath of impact, not the absence of it. Stoicism is not about turning off your emotions. It is about turning off your audience. You feel privately, intensely, truthfully, you present publicly, calmly, confidently, unshakably. And a person who can do that becomes both feared and admired, but never ignored. And now we shift into love itself. Not love declared, love demonstrated, because love spoken too soon cheapens itself. Love spoken at the right moment becomes prophecy. Stoicism teaches that emotions must mature before expression. If you speak love like cheap wine, it intoxicates but doesn't transform. If you speak love like aged whiskey, slowly, deliberately, it warms and impacts the soul. Let the world rush love. Let you master love, because love with discipline becomes destiny. Love with weakness becomes regret. A Stoic man doesn't say, "I love you," for validation. He says it when the silence before it has already proved it. Because love is strongest when it is confirmed after it has already been witnessed, not announced before it has been earned. Let me tell you what silence does. Silence makes people reevaluate themselves, not you. Words make people evaluate you. Silence makes them evaluate their place in your world. That is real leverage, real power, not manipulation. Presence? Most men lose power in relationships not because they lack strength, but because they leak it through their mouth too often, too soon, too emotionally, too recklessly. Strength must be visible, not loose. Desire must be controlled, not frantic. Silence must be deliberate, not reactive. When a woman tests you with a story, attention, distance, or closeness, a Stoic man replies in energy, not noise. His calm response, or his calm non-response, reveals more than words ever could. Stoicism changes relationships because it shifts the battlefield. The battlefield is not emotions between two people. The battlefield is control within yourself. You will always outmaneuver someone in life or love if they are fighting you and you are fighting yourself. Because their fight ends when they tire. Your fight ends when you choose. The world says intimacy is chaos. The Stoics say intimacy is awareness. The world says love is emotional surrender. Stoicism says love is conscious offering. The world says sex is possession. Stoicism says sex is presence without losing power, without losing awareness, without losing dignity. And remember, desire is not defeated by cold rejection. It is defeated by calm mastery. You don't starve it, you tame it. You don't kill it, you educate it, because desire without mastery owns you. Desire with mastery honors you. Women don't remember the men who chase them aggressively. They remember the men who refuse to be controlled by chasing, yet still make desire feel seen, respected, not begged for. Stoicism is not absence. It is intentional presence without vulnerability to chaos. Let me tell you a deeper truth. The calm man who stays unshaken while still feeling deeply is more sensual than the reckless man who spills desire like an open flame. Because a wild flame consumes fast and dies fast. A controlled ember burns slow and lasts long. The wild is temporary. The controlled is timeless. Stoics value discipline because discipline creates aura, and aura creates psychological and emotional and sensual magnetism without explicitness. They also believed relationships are not opportunities to lose yourself, but opportunities to test and strengthen yourself. Love is not where you dissolve. Love is where you sharpen. Most men lose dignity in heartbreak because they collapse loudly. A Stoic man keeps heartbreak silent, because the strongest heartbreak is not collapse, it is endurance. It is the quiet decision to rebuild better without needing witnesses. Let me remind you of something else. People chase what is chaotic at first, but they respect what is solid at last. Stoicism removes competition because most men cannot maintain strength, calm, depth, philosophy, desire, silence, discipline, presence, sensual energy without explicitness. That combination is rare. Rare means low competition. Low competition means high virality. The most Stoic men in literature, life, movies, stories, myths are unforgettable because their emotions are internal. Their presence is external, and their silence forces interpretation. Stoicism isn't suppression, it's direction. You don't aim to hide emotions. You refuse to become weaker under them. And let me move into the final arc of the speech, self-mastery. Because the person who masters self first can love deeply without collapsing, desire fully without desperation, build suspense naturally without manipulation, and hold silence confidently without insecurity. If you can master silence, you can master reaction. If you can master reaction, you can master heartbreak. If you can master heartbreak, you can master relationships. If you can master relationships, you become unforgettable, undeniable, unstoppable, unshakable, irresistible, deeply desirable without saying explicitness. Stoicism teaches that self-control is not emotional absence. It is emotional discipline. That's why Stoic men become legends. Because they feel deeply, but appear unshakably. That creates suspense. Suspense creates curiosity. Curiosity creates desire. Desire creates obsession. Obsession creates virality, not chaos, control. Not loudness, impact, not desperation, presence. So when you enter love or heartbreak or desire, enter as the master of yourself, not the servant of someone else's expectation. Let silence be intentional. Let desire be disciplined. Let intimacy be aware, not explicit. Let love be deliberate, not rushed. Let heartbreak refine you, not reveal you publicly. The quieter you become internally, the louder you become historically. Because history never remembers the loud reactors. It remembers the calm shapers. A Stoic man builds his heart like a fortress, not to keep love out, but to ensure love cannot destroy him if it leaves. And that's real peace, real strength, real magnetism, real virality, real legacy.